Hey, my darling. So I had some interesting questions lately about how to deal with extended family, and that can definitely cause a problem in people's relationships, whether it's his family or your family. Of course, it being your family, you have more control over that because you can deal with your family, and it's interesting because I guess I can use my own family as an example. I've told you guys before that, my family, my father's, he's a tough dude, but he's more soft-spoken, refined, into the arts, that kind of thing, even though, he would fight a bear if he had to for his family. But, so in any case, having 3 daughters, he didn't have to, whatever. He just wasn't like my husband, who has been, dominant, aggressive, very, very manly, since he was 14 when I met him. So in any case, to say the least, my husband came off quite harsh and abrasive to them, and they would say very tenderly, "Oh, he's so harsh, and is he too hard on the kids?" And so they were gentle how they said it, but you could tell, my sisters were a little bit more like, "He's too harsh, are you sure, blah blah blah." And I was like, listen, this is exactly how he's supposed to be. That's why the kids don't give us any problems. They respect their father and they listen, So it's very, very wonderful for me to say, you wait for your father to get home and like everybody's attitude's right, So it took them years. It took them years to get used to his loud, thundering voice when it had to be. His very direct way of communicating. We were a very overly sensitive family, so it was like, oh, and it was like, no, he's just very direct. He's not trying to be mean. He's not trying to be rude. He's not even angry. He's just being direct, So those are things they had to get used to. On the other side of the family, they were much more direct, and no surprise there. And much more short and a little, if you want to call it harsh on the way that they spoke or speak or whatever. So I had to get used to that. But that was a little easier for me because, that's his family. I'm on the, just the, in the background, I smile, wave, hi, be polite, bring gifts, be helpful. Again, I've known them since I was 14 years old. So, there have been instances where family members have done both of us wrong on our own sides of the family, and we have dealt with it together. My husband, the way he is he told me when we got married and we got our own kids and everything, this is his family. He loves his family, extended family, but we're the family now. So that, I'm very happy about that. I never had to worry about him choosing sides. He always said that if there was something that his parents didn't like about how we were doing something or whatever, if they had a problem with me, he chooses me. And I'm like, oh, thanks, honey. But I tried to never be a problem. You know what I mean? But not everybody has it like that. So in that case, all right, listen. If it's your family, you have to set the ground rules and you let them know, this is how we have our relationship. These are our dynamics. This is the order in which our family is, functioning. Okay. And it works very well. So because he's the man, he's the head, he's in charge, he's the boss, what he says goes. So that's what you do. If your family does not want to comply with a request that he has, my husband said, well, you know what? We'll stay somewhere else. Then you stay somewhere else. If he says we're not going to go, then we don't go, So we've had situations, where, for example, I think I told you guys recently, my husband does not like to have his clothes line dried. He has bad memories from when he was a kid. He wants them in the dryer. He wants them fluffy. He doesn't want them hard and wrinkly or anything like that. So anyway, that was something that I had to ask my parents, like, he does not want to line dry the clothes when we're visiting and we're staying at your place. He wants to put them in the dryer. You wouldn't think that'd be such an issue, but people have their own little quirky things. So because they want us to come back, they learn to comply with things that I asked. You know, it's too hot, we need to turn on the air. It's too cold, the kids are too cold, we need to turn on the heat, whatever. And it was only a problem, you know, really once, each of these different circumstances. And then it was like, well, we want them to come back and visit, so we're just going to be more hospitable is a good word. So anyway, but if it's his family, you do have to tread very lightly, because you don't want to come between him and his family. You don't want to look like you're making him pick sides, you know, and you don't want to put him in that like defensive position of, you know, you trying to make me turn against my family, you're trying to make me choose sides, you know, you're trying to tell me what to do. So as I was thinking about what to respond, because I've had some questions about it, the Fascinating Womanhood book came to mind, and rule number 1 is accept your man exactly the way he is. So don't try to change him. So that means whatever it is that's going on, your number 1 job is to act right. You know, 1 Peter chapter 3 is freaking awesome. Maybe that's not appropriate to say. Very awesome life scripture that has gotten me through so much of my life. And basically it says that even if you have an unbelieving husband, you can win him not by your conversation, not by your word, but by your chaste and reverent behavior. So your godly behavior, you acting like a good wife, being a good wife, being sweet, submissive, agreeable, pleasant, not a pain in the butt, is what gets a man to relax, you know, chill out a little bit, and he'll change on his own. It is the absolute truth. It's a paradox of life, I'm telling you. So nagging does not work. Fussing doesn't work. Trying to explain it to him doesn't, you know, to some degree. If there's something that's like, oh honey, you know, I really, the way that your sister talked to you, I just think was very disrespectful. You know, you have to be careful. You have to be careful. You got to tread real lightly if you're going to talk about the man's family. And if there's something you're concerned about, find a way at a right time to gently talk about it and just express some little feelings about it. But leave it to him. Leave it up to him. If you've brought something to his attention one time, let it be, because he'll notice on his own. You know, if somebody is using him or someone is manipulating him, or, you know, he will see on his own. Okay. Once you've mentioned it nicely, kindly, respectfully, that you're concerned about that, then he'll see on his own. But if you keep going and keep going and keep going, it's nagging. And that just makes them, whatever you nag them about, they dig their heels in and do more of what it is that you're complaining about. I'm telling you, it's just the way that it works. It's their natural reaction, because they do not want to be told what to do. My husband has told me many times, men have had a mother, they don't want another one, period. They don't want a man telling them what to do at all. And that's something that a lot of women don't understand, and a lot of single women get wrong when they're trying to get in a relationship or be in a relationship with a man, because they think they need to know where they are all the time, or something's going to happen. They need to kind of control things, and you can't. That's a fallacy. It's a delusion. You cannot control a man, and you're going to push him away. So anywho, that's what I have to say about that. Accept the man the way that he is. Tread lightly with his family. Keep your family in line. And, you know, let some time go by. And for the love of God, do not get into fights and arguments about it. It's not worth it. He will see on his own. And you don't, you know, it's family relationships go back a long time. And a lot of people got a lot of dysfunction in their family. Okay. You know, I know people where the mother abandoned them. Again, the mother abandoned them, and the older sister raised the younger children. Okay, so if you wonder why, you know, that lady wonders why, you know, first of all, that she's like the head of the home because he's still like a little boy, and he never quite grew up. His mother left him. She's the mother figure, and the older sister's the mother figure, and the sister has a great influence in his life because he always looked up to her. I mean, it's just a whole thing. You don't know. Maybe you know, but most people don't know how deep the family situations have been in people's lives. So just try to take into consideration there's history with families. And again, you have to be careful, because the last thing you want to do is make him feel trapped, that you're making him to take a choice, that you're asking for some kind of ultimatum, that you're trying to control him in any way. Okay. And so many of these women, and I posted this site that Adrian Everhart, so many women think they can control a man's behavior by stopping being active in their relationship. Like, they think if we take a hands off and we, kind of give them the cold shoulder and the silent treatment, that's manipulation, is what she's teaching them. And manly men aren't falling for that crap. They'll say, oh yeah, kiss off. I've got a line out the door, if you don't want to put your effort in. And I'm like, you're lying to the women. Women have to compete. The women are the ones that are supposed to be active and keep in the relationship. It's not the man. The man has work to do. He has real work to do. And we're supposed to be there to, give him the girlfriend experience, even if you're married. Meals cooked, run the bath, plan walks in the park, little dates and things like that, whatever. But take that off of his plate. Maybe he was chasing you in the beginning, but now things are settled, and you're like, oh, he doesn't do that anymore. That's fine. That's your job. You put in the effort. If you take away your effort, someone else is going to be like, oh, you deserve to be treated better. And then there you go. Bye-bye. So I cannot believe women pay for that. I've been annoyed with quite a few female coaches. It's just the worst advice ever. If it's not something a man would say, you shouldn't do it. Okay? I've learned everything from my husband in the manosphere. Besides the Bible. So, yeah, very annoying. But, and then I'm telling you, women left to themselves, single women, just a side rant, but I see so many situations, and even well-meaning, beautiful, talented gals that, running their own business and all this kind of stuff and just trying to make it, but they can't. They have a problem submitting to a man. They have a problem not trying to control the man's life, so they can't get past that euphoric 6 months or year of a relationship. And it's like, hun, you're gonna have to pick one. If they're around your age, you're gonna have growing pains, and you just have to decide you're gonna do what it takes to keep them, and that's your job. But the children I have seen of single mothers have a lot of behavioral challenges, screaming at school, tantrums, 6 years old, 8 years old. And what's amazing to me is the number of kids that we've been told have issues, have problems. Put them around my husband or my sons, no problem at all. They might test a little, and all they do is look at them, and those kids get right in line. They know masculine energy, and they don't step out of line. So if they can control themselves around my husband, that means they have control of themselves. They're not, out of control. They're intelligent. So they have self-control. So the problem is that they're around women all day. They're with women at school. They're women at home, and no one can give them that masculine control. and you've got kids that may or may not have autism spectrum, ADHD, all these different things, it may be a touch of that. And it also may be the chaotic home life, the chaos that they've grown up in, different men coming in and out of their lives, not seeing their father consistently or at all, their mother's emotional ups and downs. Some of these women, I told you, are alcoholics, they're drug addicts, they're steal from their work, lose custody of their children, sometimes keep half their kids, the other half are with grandparents. I mean, there's just such a mess. It's such a mess. I know like one lady who was raising her child, but her husband died in a plane accident, okay? And then she got remarried a couple years ago. So her daughter was maybe 4, and they were friends for a couple years. And it was a traumatic experience. God bless them. They're friends of our family. But anywho, so it's just not good. Kids have a lot of learning problems without a father, and women are always thinking, well, he needs to be making money, he needs to be doing this, or he's not ambitious enough, he's not doing enough of that. You don't understand what a man brings besides for money, besides for his wallet, besides for sex, besides for protection. His presence changes the whole attitude and atmosphere of the home. Everybody acts better, okay? And I've told people, if daddy keeps me in check, I'm a woman, I get emotional, I get irrational, and I humble myself and I say, Daddy, I'm thinking these crazy things, and sometimes he'll let me talk a little bit, but lately, he works. So he's like, honey, you need to get it together. And I'm like, okay, Daddy, and I'm like, so sometimes I just need to hear him say that. It might be one sentence, it might be 2 words, and then I'm like, okay, can't put stress on Daddy. That's not right. None of this is even anything. It's all in my head. It's not even a real problem I'm dealing with. Stop it, and then I get down on myself, and it's like, I told my husband, I was like, man, if women have a freaking cycle every month, do good for a couple weeks, and then the week before the period, you got emotional hormones are really out of control, and then that night or that day, the week later, you got emotional ups and downs, and it's like, oh man, it's a whole week out of your month. It's like, man, this is nonsense. But anywho, hey, it is what it is. It's just what we have to deal with. And I've told my husband that, I sometimes have asked myself, what's worse, the woman having to go through this cycle every month, or the man who's logical that has to live with her? And I'm like, I feel worse for the man. I said, because we are just like, I don't know why, right? It doesn't make any sense. But for a logical being to have to deal with such an illogical creature that he's created to create solutions, and there's nothing he can do other than keep the lid on it, keep it under control. Women are still, I love my husband. I'm submissive. I'll kiss his feet, anything for that man. But I have been to the state of like, just, I know, but and they're like, dear God, but he will tell me enough is enough when enough is enough. And he will, other times just give me a hug, and, it's not bad every single month, but we are a pain. I'm sorry. My goodness. I think God has quite a sense of humor, but anyway, I got all off track, but basically, back to needing male headship. But, so I started off talking about accept your man just the way he is. And that goes for single women too, because if you're not married, technically you're single, but whatever, everyone's got their own situationships going on out there. But if that's your man, you chose him and he chose you, then you need to figure it out. You need to work it out, make it happen. Because otherwise you're just starting over again with another person over and over and over again. And it is not good. And I was telling my little sweet gal today, I've been doing my own hair for a while and just do all my own stuff now, save my daddy money. And she treated me. She's so sweet. But I was telling her, I was like, no, it's good. I hope you found the one. You're just gonna have to make a decision and go for it. You know, have another baby, be married, and just be agreeable and say yes to the man as much as possible. Okay. You know, I said, because the older women get, the harder it is for them to, first of all, they get crazy. They're completely irrational. You know, they're miserable, they're bitter, and it's just, everything's harder. They can't submit, they can't pair bond, they can't become one with the man anymore because they've got their own agenda. They're so used to being on their own. They're like, oh, I'm not changing for a man. I'm not doing this for a man. And I've been doing it like this all this time. And he wants to do it like that. And I don't like it like that. Oh, my Lord. That's why men go for younger women. It's so much easier. They're ready and programmable, you know. This just is what it is. So, anywho, it's long enough. Love you guys. And, yeah, I'm just saying a prayer for the single moms today because, Mia. And I even think that, you know, moms that think they're in a bad situation, as long as somebody's not beating you in a corner with their fists or something crazy, you know, drunken rages or something insane, really, a father in the home is so much better than no father in the home. You know, keeping whatever family you got is broken or, you know, not perfect as it is so much better for the kids than breaking your family apart and thinking you can do better all by yourself. I promise you. I promise you. And usually families can make it through hard times and become better. Usually. But people have to try. Especially the women. They don't want to do it first, but you need to because we have the most to lose. That's why you have to do it first. All right. Mwah. Ciao, guys. Bye.